Hello, welcome to the conversation in News Central Television. This is the program where we bring you up to speed with all the political happenings on the African continent. I am Benga Aboro.
And I am Rita Omodia. Now, today on the conversation, we will be looking at the supplementary governorship election held in some parts of Nigeria, specifically in Adamawa State, where the results have been declared null, void, and of no effect following the controversial declaration of Aishatu Dahiru as the winner of the election by the resident electoral commissioner.
We would also look at the crisis in Sudan, where the struggle for power between the army and the paramilitary rapid support forces has left dozens dead.
Quite a sad tale on Saturday. I mean, we saw from going to tens to about 500 people dying and increasing.
It's crazy how things happen so fast in the course of a few days. And we weren't expecting that because we've been dealing with Sudan on this program for the last 1 year. And it's mostly between the military and, and pro-democracy group protests. But to see this infighting amongst them and seeing that civilians who have nothing to do with this are caught in the crossfires, it's quite unfortunate. A lot of people have been calling for them to de-escalate the situation. I mean, still fighting is still raging as we speak at this moment. And talking about drama, you saw what happened in Adamawa State.
It was a big drama because I was here in the newsroom and then we're all looking at the fact that we were probably going to see the first female governor, and all of a sudden we were wondering how we would have a declaration of the result when the collation of results had not ended. And you know, the way the resident electoral commissioner came out with so much confidence to declare results, and he just said, you know, this is the result. But he took the people for granted and they are not ready to be granted.
I guess we'll be looking at it in more details as we speak. But beyond just a declaration of results, if somebody pronounces you as the winner of the elections that is not in the position to, do you still go ahead and give an acceptance speech?
I think she had that. I don't know what gave her that impetus to come out and, you know, give acceptance speech when you know that the collation had not ended. I don't know the confidence or the faith that she has in winning this election.
But Rita, as a woman, in that acceptance speech, she, you know, praised Nigerian women and said the doors should be more open to women in politics. Did that resonate with you?
Winga, why putting you on the hot spot? Well, we expect more doors to be open for women, but in the right circumstance. I think that's what we're looking for.
We shouldn't be desperate.
No desperation, please. Well, anyways, let's begin with situations in Nigeria where, in what almost looked like the declaration of the first female governor in Adamawa, northern Nigeria, a series of controversies came to the fore on Sunday when the Adamawa resident electoral commissioner, in the absence of the returning officer, announced the result of the Adamawa gubernatorial elections without the conclusion of collations. The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, had on Saturday held supplementary elections in a number of polling units across Nigeria to conclude all outstanding governorship, national and state assembly polls. Recall that in the Adamawa State governorship election result declared on March 11, incumbent Governor Ahmadu Fintiri of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, polled 421,524 votes, while his main rival, Aishatu Binani Dahiru of the All Progressives Congress, APC, scored 390,275.
Now, due to the cancellation of elections in 69 polling units in Fore local government area by the state's coalition officer, Professor Mohammed Mele, INEC declared the governorship election in Adamawa State inconclusive. Prior to the announcement, Fintiri was in the lead from the results of 10 councils so far declared in the supplementary polls. Consequently, the collation of results of the supplementary election was suspended by INEC, and all parties involved invited to the INEC headquarters. Now, join us to discuss the events of this past weekend is Mary Ogwiji. We have Mary Ogwiji. She's a legal practitioner and human rights lawyer. She joins us from Nigeria's capital, Abuja. One welcome to you, Mary, and thanks for joining us in the conversation. Now, Mary, the action of the resident electoral commissioner for Adamawa State has been described in a lot of quarters as quite reckless and described as the usurpation of the power of the returning officer. How much of an offense is this in the Electoral Act, and who by law is given the responsibility to declare elections in that situation? Whose responsibility is it to announce results and declare a winner?
It's actually the responsibility of the returning officer, not the REC, to give the results of election. And from the results that were given a night before this whole saga started, we could see that it was the returning officer that actually read out the 10 results. So from the whole process actually was wrong. The whole for the REC coming to call the results at the manner in which he did was so wrong. There was no the party agents were not around. Aside the party agents not being around, we did not have other media outlets. I think it was just what's the name of this media house? I think TVC. TVC was the only media that actually covered that event. And aside that, the other stakeholders were not there. And so even when he came to call the results, he came without any sheet and just came to declare that in election, APC has won the elections. And so it just makes me wonder, like, what results are we actually going to be presenting? Like, with what margin did APC win? What results are we actually using? What are we upholding? What are we saying? With how did they come about the results? All these things, all these controversies have actually led to the whole saga that we are seeing in Adamawa State. And if we are following the law, the Electoral Act, we go by the Electoral Act, his act is actually null and void.
All right, now, Mary, still looking at all of this incident that played out. I mean, on one side, we saw the REC declaring the elections while the collation is still on. But also later on yesterday, we saw a viral video where we see officers of the DSS saying that the Adamawa Electoral Commissioner collected 2 billion naira bribe to rig the governorship election for APC's Binani. Now, the DSS has said that there will be proper investigation into all of this. But following this revelation and this viral video, what do you make of this? And do you feel that INEC has become compromised?
Generally, because the INEC as a body has actually rejected the actions of the REC in Adamawa State. So by that, it means that he acted on his own. And being that you are acting for a body and the body has rejected the action in which you actually did on its behalf, that means he acted on his own. And it was not the whole of INEC, it was not the body INEC that was actually bribed. But notwithstanding, it was the duty of INEC to make sure that the right persons, people of integrity, actually man election and results calling and the rest. It was actually INEC that's responsible to pick the persons that should actually call out this result. So I feel in a way INEC has like a fault in this whole thing, this whole saga. In fact, the drama is very. When I was reading the news when I was listening to the news for the first time, it was really alarming. Yes, we all want like a female governor. In fact, I'm one of the persons that have always been fronting the need for women participation in politics. But we waited too long to do it the wrong way. We want to get it right. We want to do it the right way. So, but notwithstanding, these are still unconfirmed allegations. So there's not been any video, there's not been any real concrete evidence to show that it was the APC that actually that tried to bribe. He may have acted on his own, who knows?
Now, still following on the drama in Adamawa State over the weekend, after the resident electoral commissioner in Adamawa State, Hudu Yunusa Ari, illegally declared the APC gubernatorial candidate, Aishatu Binani Dahiru, as the winner of the governorship elections. She went on national TV. She was on NTA, and she gave an acceptance speech where she thanked the people of her state for electing her. And according to her, being elected as the first female governor in Nigeria would encourage other women to participate actively in politics. You know, knowing the way she was declared by a resident electoral commissioner that is illegal, there were no sheets, there were no announcement. A politician of her standing should know the implications of what happened, but she went ahead to give an acceptance speech. She was even thanking Mr. President. What do you, and a flood of congratulatory messages came in. What do you make of this? Is she complicit in all of this drama that ensued over the weekend? And should there be some sort of punitive measure against her for going ahead to make an acceptance speech?
Okay, to be honest, her actions actually seemed like she actually ratified everything that happened. But notwithstanding, we all know that every politician is always anxious during elections such as this, and being that she's going to be like the first, if everything pulls through and God's willing, she comes out as the winner of the governorship election, she'll be the first female governor in Nigeria. So it could just be that excitement, the whole enthusiasm and everything maybe could have just made her to come up with the whole victory speech and all. But notwithstanding, I felt she would have actually done the right thing, seeing that the right thing was not done, the process was not actually done right. Because if it were me, I would want a situation whereby I want to actually win the trust, not just of my people, because when you are actually coming out for a representative position, such as governor, or to represent people, and to actually, when you come out as a governor, you are representing people. You are actually, and democracy is for the people. So the interest of the people should actually count to you, because there were like 10 local governments where results were yet to be collated. And I think, I'm very sure she must have been listening to the news at that time to know what had actually happened. But I want to actually pin it on maybe her being very, nervous.
Or excited,
just that
too
excitement.
excited.
Just that excitement that comes with being called a victor. And yeah, I know right now the PDP candidate is actually the person on the losing end right now. And I'm very sure that if tables were to turn, I'm sure he too may have made a similar victory speech, notwithstanding the whole chaos around it.
Okay, now, Mary, I mean, you're a human rights lawyer, and a lot of videos came out yesterday. We also saw another video where a national commissioner of INEC was stripped by unknown people in Yola, the Adamawa State capital, after all that transpired, especially the illegal calling of a winner of the elections when collations had not ended. What did you make of this? I mean, was it right? It wasn't right in all its sense, but how do you rationalize people beating up the national commissioner because of what he did at that announcement of the winner of the Adamawa elections?
He wasn't even.
I was like one thing that keeps ringing on my mind, but what was actually going on in the mind of that electoral officer when he actually read that result? Like, it was almost like an act of madness. It was like a coup of some sort, like a civil coup of some sort, if you ask me. And regardless of whatever amount was paid to him or whoever may be behind that show and whatever he displayed at that moment, I still blame him personally, because he's a grown man, and I believe that he should be conversant with the wordings of the Constitution. He should be conversant with the Electoral Act. He should be conversant with the INEC regulation. And with all that, I still wonder what was actually the plan. Or it could still be that, because I don't think he may have come out to read that result, not knowing that it would result to the kind of chaos that we are having now. So somehow I'm a little nervous, and I'm a little anxious to know what the outcome of the following days, of the days that follow, or the weeks that come after this whole event would be, because I don't think they must have looked through the consequences of their actions before they did everything. And some persons have actually been using trying to use Section 149 to actually ratify the fact that Senator Aishatu Binani has already been declared winner, and anybody who is aggrieved should go to court, because that is what that particular provision says. But at this point, is the right person, the right person to have announced the result, which is the returning officer, did not do it? Are we actually, the question now is, how is our judiciary going to interpret that? Are they going to interpret it that, are they going to interpret the whole process that it wasn't done rightly, or INEC has not actually declared the result? Or are they going to interpret it that we should all go to court and wait for the outcome of the results. And with the way, with the side talks, with the feelings and the emotions of people going around, you will see that a lot of persons have actually lost hope in the judiciary. So I'm actually wanting to see what the following days would actually have for us.
Now, Mary, following the illegal declaration of Aishatu Binani as the winner of the Adamawa State governorship elections, INEC in a few hours came out with a statement condemning the action and saying, look, the results are null and void, and the rest of the electoral commissioner is not in the position to announce results. How would you rate INEC's communication? Was it swift enough, or they should have come out immediately after that declaration was made? And if they did that, I'm not sure if Madam Binani would have gone ahead to make acceptance speech and all of that. How better can they communicate more effectively and also prevent, because INEC is already in the spotlight. People think they're compromised, and then you have this sort of situation happening. How can they prevent this sort of things from happening in the future, so people don't question their motives and where their loyalty really lies?
Okay, Nigeria is a country governed by the rule of law, and I believe to every electoral process, we actually have law guiding every electoral process. And if INEC should actually follow the electoral laws, follow their regulations and their rules, we would not be having all these issues coming up. The question now is, anyways, he's the rec, so I wanted to say he actually is one of the persons to actually look up to when it comes to the calling out of results. Else I would have asked why they let him in, why did they give him that authority? And he did not just come alone, he came with the powers, he came with having the powers of the Nigerian enforcement agencies. We had the civil defense there, the director of civil defense was there, the commissioner of police was there. So it was more like a whole team play thing. So it's not like he came and acted on his own. It's like, apart from INEC, the law enforcement agent also backed him up in this.
But do you think those law enforcement agents knew what was on his mind? I mean, he's a senior INEC official, like you said, and he has a right to be in that collation office. But do you think they knew what he was planning to do?
I didn't get that question.
Do you think the law enforcement agents that accompanied him to the collation center knew what was on his mind and knew that he was going to announce results where he didn't have the constitutional powers to?
Okay, if the persons that followed him there knew that he was going to announce, definitely he must have told them why he was going there. Because one, they were supposed to sit by 11 because previously, before that particular day, it was announced that everybody, due to the Muslims actually fast in this period, they needed time to go and rest to come back. And they asked everybody to converge by 11. And everybody, just a few persons just come by 9. Nobody was there. So if you see the way everything actually played out, you know that there was actually negative intent in the whole display. I feel, and I feel INEC on its own, to an extent, I would like to applaud INEC. Although, yes, they should have, just like you said, they should have been able to maybe respond a little faster. But notwithstanding, the fact that they said the rec of the INEC rec, in Adamawa acted on its own, actually made the people of Adamawa count to an extent, because by now there would have been a lot of chaos in that state. Because there is nobody that would see this level of injustice being displayed and we want to fold their hands and wait for the courts to actually decide. Whether we like it or not, there's an extent to which corruption can actually, there's an extent to which people can see corruption just fast. So I think their quick action to actually say that the rec acted on his own actually helps and calms the whole situation.
All right, now, Mary, I mean, this is coming at a time when there are a lot of petitions against the February 25 elections and even the March 11 governorship elections. Aside Adamawa State, I don't know if you monitored all the supplementary elections. What was your assessment so far? I mean, would you say that the INEC has improved compared to the previous elections that we had on February 25 and February 11? Because these elections are coming as a result of irregularities from the previous governorship elections.
Yeah, I would say that INEC has actually improved because unlike before, it was almost like people could just sit in their houses, sit in their offices and just pick people that would actually be the governor, the president and the like. But this particular election came with a high level of unpredictability. Nobody could actually predict with confidence that this particular person was going to win an election. And that was because somehow it looks like power had returned to the people. And that was because of the introduction of beavers. So I would say to an extent they have improved, but I always say something: improvements cannot happen in a day. We are still a growing country. Even America does not have like 100% democracy arrangements happening there. So we are still a growing country, and I believe that with time we will keep improving. But that doesn't mean that we should improve at a very slow pace. We actually have, because a lot of money was expended in this election to have given us more than what we actually got. But notwithstanding, I would still say it's at least from where we are, we are far from where we used to be, and it's actually something good to commend INEC for. And we hope that during the subsequent elections we'll actually improve on what we have and not actually progress.
Now, Mary, just before we begin to wrap up conversation on this segment, looking at the current situation now, what is going to happen? Are they going to go back and conduct another supplementary election, or they will continue to announce the results from where they stopped the previous night? Because what this reckless wreck has done is to just throw a spanner into the works of INEC. And what will be the right thing to do, and when do we expect INEC to give feedback on how to proceed? What should be the right course of action?
I actually will expect INEC to continue with the collation, the calling out of the results and the collation of results, so that they can have the conclusive election. Because, like we say, justice delayed, justice denied. What's the need of having this whole long break in order to call results? Actually, the process itself, like voting process, nobody actually had issues with the voting process because that was the only, like, we had just very few states left. So a lot of observers, a lot of enforcement agencies were there to man most of the polling units. So it was really peaceful. So nobody is actually having issues with that particular process. Everything where we are having issues now is with the collation and results announcement. And I feel what INEC should just do is that the returning officer, who is supposed to be who is the authorized person to actually call out the results, should just go ahead and do what it needs to do. And the appropriate persons that needs to be punished, or the appropriate persons that needs to actually give account. Because I really want to know, I am really, really, really inquisitive. I would like to know what actually gave the wreck that kind of power, like where his authority is coming from, because that was a very big step.
I mean, a lot of people want to know where the confidence came from and the motivation.
Yeah. Yeah, like it's really huge. It's really huge. I wish I was close to him to ask him.
Trust me, we all want to ask him the same thing, how he had so much confidence to come out and announce a result. But looking at all of this, I mean, for the electorate, we've had a situation where we've had voter apathy in previous elections, February 25, February 11, we're supposed to, March 18 elections. How do you think what consequence will it have on future electoral processes? I mean, how do you feel the people will feel when you see someone who is not supposed to announce elections coming out to announce elections? If INEC does not do what is needed at this point in time, how will it affect future electoral processes in Nigeria?
Definitely, election processes, like the next election is actually going to be like an offshoot of this present election, because most persons that would look at what happened in this election to decide whether it's worth coming out for during the next election. And for notwithstanding, we just, like, I work with many civil rights society organizations, and one thing we always do is that we continue to advocate, because nobody is going to repair our country for us. We ourselves have to repair this country for ourselves. Nobody is going to come and build Nigeria for us. We, like the whole Japa syndrome, if we keep japaring, like, we will still have to come back. Like, see what happened in Ukraine when the Ukraine war started. A lot of persons had to come back to Nigeria, where the Nigeria that they were calling was the Nigeria that they were running from. They had to come back because there is no place like home. So if we keep running from home, who is actually going to build home for us? So that's something that so that's one thing I always advocate to people. We should not run away from the country. We should always try to do our bits. We should still come out to vote. But notwithstanding, with everything that happened, I feel like voter apathy may be on the rise, but notwithstanding, I feel Nigerians are more enlightened now. They know more. They know more, and I feel it has come a time when people have realized that power belongs to them. Whether we like it or not, despite the fact that we did not have 100%, we did not have 100% in these elections the way we expected, but we actually have gone a long way. And I feel that should be able to be a motivating factor for everybody to continue to push. We can't go back now. We have to go forward ever.
Backward never.
Thank you very much, Mary Ogwiji, for being a part of this conversation. We do appreciate your time and your insights on the subject. Thank you.
Thank you very much for having me.